Welcome to the 40 Plus Podcast.
Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Mario J. Brown.
And I'm your host, Kimberly Marie Brown.
Yes, and this is the hangout spot where we touch and inspire those who are 40 and over. Y'all ready?
Yes. This is where we have deep and inspirational conversations on faith, family,
finance, career, and of course, we talk about relationships.
I'm so excited because we are your guests tonight. For episode 2. Do you feel the vibe, right? For episode 2. I'm so excited. I can't even get it out. Episode 2. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you so much. And for those of you who are back again, man.
Yeah, thank you. We decided to switch it up because it's gonna get good tonight.
Oh my goodness.
It's gonna get really, really good tonight. So we have to just switch up the whole vibe. But yeah, we want to do a quick recap. Those of you that missed last week, make sure you go back and check it out. But what did we discuss last week?
Some good stuff.
Our intro, we talked about who we are.
Yes, I'm Kimberly.
And we said our names already. You know who I am, Mario J. Brown.
We're from Atlanta, Georgia. We have a beautiful blended family of 6.
Correction. We live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm from Milwaukee. I don't know where she's from.
Yeah.
I ain't from Atlanta, but I rock with Atlanta.
That was my first time ever saying that. So that was a moment. I'm from Atlanta. That was my first time bonding with the city. Like, Atlanta, you've been good to me. That was the first you guys got to witness that. But I'm actually from St. Louis, Missouri.
STL.
314.
314-414. Yeah. So that's where we're from. Again, she mentioned that we had a blended family of 6. Yeah. We're entrepreneurs. We're creatives. Yeah. We met in the creative space. So you'll find out about our story a little bit later.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
We're newly pastors.
Yeah. Newly appointed pastors. We're looking forward to this journey.
We do a lot. Yeah. We have multiple businesses. We love everything from real estate to transportation to
our
community
youth runway show.
Nonprofits. Like, we do a lot. Yeah. And we love working with the youth.
Absolutely.
So you guys will find more, find out more about that as you continue to stay connected to us. But again, this is a hangout spot for those who are 40 plus. We're going to talk about everything that goes on in our world, the different dynamics, the things that we've learned, how we've changed and evolved since our teenage years, college, 20s, you know.
Yeah. And we want to acknowledge our first 25 subscribers. Thank you for just seeing the vision of this podcast, understanding the value that it brings, and for sharing it. Yeah, we appreciate you. We're expecting 25 to grow to 50, 75, 100 on up. And so we are partners in this thing. So we appreciate you guys for joining and tuning in.
Thank you.
Yeah, you want to jump into today?
Let's go. Oh, and last week we also talked about some more things. Now, giving another recap, we talked about friendships last week. Good. That was really, really good.
That was really good. We talked about friendships. We gave you a little bit of a teaser of what we're going to jump into tonight. Intimacy and how to keep it intimate. Yeah. And how to make it intimate. Let's see. What else did we talk about?
We talked about how does it feel to be in this age group? Like, how are you guys feeling? And really just thinking about the fact that if we live to see 80, then these are the later years of our life. How do we feel about that? What things do we want to accomplish? Just that we kind of touch bases on that too. And just we're kind of honest and transparent about how we both were feeling about that. And we're interested to see how you guys are feeling about that as well. At the time of this taping, we haven't got to really get that much feedback, but we're excited to continue to get feedback coming in and share that in the episodes to come.
Yes. So at 40 plus, are you anxious? Are you satisfied? Yes. Are you still thriving? Are you disappointed? Have you given up? Where are you? Man. I mean, it's a wide spectrum of places that we can be on this journey. And so I've experienced a little bit of them all. So we're going to help you through that along with our guests. But tonight it's just her and I.
Yeah. And
so we want you guys to get to know us as well.
Yeah. And I'm hoping, babe, that our podcast gives them inspiration.
Absolutely.
If it's something that they feel like they still want to strive to do, something that they want to, that they're thinking about or praying about, I'm praying that these type of conversations
Yeah.
can really help us kind of say, okay, you know what? I'm not done yet.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
I'm not done. I still got stuff to do.
And we're going to bring our resources to the table to help you with the things that you may need help with.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's do this thing together, y'all. We in this together. 40 plus. We going up, y'all. Going up.
Let's jump into it.
All right. You want to introduce it?
What we talking about tonight? So the first topic is, what direction are we going in? So I think that's a perfect way to open up the show. What direction do we want to go in? What things are we navigating towards in this season of our life? What things are we attracted to? I think life changes so much. So what maybe caught our attention when we were in our 20s, when we were in our 30s, may not be the vibe anymore.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, what things are you like drawn to now in this season of your life, and how have you seen yourself kind of evolve and change, and what kind of captures your attention or your heart?
Yeah. Man, after all that I have lived through and gone through, I'm thankful that I'm still yet dreaming, and I'm still pursuing the things that have been in my heart for quite some time. Some of the things that I've been going after for a long time, because I've ran across a lot of people who at this age have given up on their dreams. They've completely felt like, okay, I just need to focus on something else. And then a lot of us are dying unfulfilled, unfortunately. And we're not leaving legacies for our children. We're not showing them what it means to, to really go after and become. And of course, we all have our setbacks and, things that keep us from where we're supposed to go or where we're trying to go. But we're not supposed to quit. If God has really placed this in you to do. So your question to me is, where am I at? I'm in that same place, except this time around, I have more of a, a drive, a fight. I just have more of a confidence. That's the word I'm looking for. That I'm on the right path, that I'm, again, fulfilling those things that God placed inside of me. So I'm excited about where I am at this stage of my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you?
I think too, like now in this season of my life, I know what it's like to lose a loved one and someone that I care deeply about that happened in these later years. And so it just made me realize how precious life is. So I think I'm at the exact same place that you are describing, just understanding that life is precious. I don't want to lose any moment. I don't want any gift or dream to get left behind, like no gift left behind. And I feel like everything that is in me, I want to come out. So even this moment right now here with you guys, this is a dream manifested. The more that we do these episodes, the more that we do the seasons, the more that we give it all we have. I just feel like I'm in the boxing rink of life. And I'm just like, okay, just like everything that I want to give it everything I have, because I only have one life. And I think that's the beauty of life. It's just still fighting through everything and just trying to live in purpose and really feel fulfillment.
And when you've lost so much, I mean, the question is, what are you drawn to at this age? And for, different people, I'm sure we'll get a lot of different answers.
Yeah.
Since you asked me, again, I'm drawn to success. I'm drawn to successful people. I'm drawn to just entrepreneurs. I'm drawn to people who are in a different space in life.
Yeah,
like it really is. That's what I'm connecting and attracting myself to. Just people that have the like mind that I have.
Yeah. What is success to you?
Wow, success to me. That's a big question.
Yeah.
I think success for me is being able to do what I love to do and be compensated for it, and also be able to again provide for my family doing what I love to do. So that's one level of success. The other portion of it is, to this point, I believe that I've reached certain levels of success, and while I can't number all of the people that I've reached through ministry and music and things like that, I do understand that I've had a level of success and it's benefited others, and that is success to me as well.
So I'm trying to get all up in my husband's tea, y'all, because I think all of us, like, we've had success to a certain level, but I find his story so inspirational because some of the things that he's gotten to do in his life, not many people can say that they've been able to even touch some of the things in your life that you've been able to touch or be afforded. But even though there are some things that you've been able to do that other people have not been able to, and circles and environments and just in entertainment in general, do you still feel like kind of that, like that's not enough, like there's still so much more, or does it give you a certain level of satisfaction?
I mean, I'm not content to the point where I'm stopping. You know, I know that there's more for me. I know that I haven't reached my personal goals, and so you know, maybe success and goals look like two different things in a sense, because I've had some levels of success. I'm looking for even greater levels of success. But again, there are goals that I have yet to reach, while some of them I have reached. Some of them actually I didn't even set as goals, and God allowed it to happen. You know, so I'm thankful for that as well. But yeah, I'm definitely drawn and, you know, gravitating towards the next phase in life, whatever that looks like. And that's another thing, just being able to step out on a whole new dimension of who I am. What's the evolution of Mario J. Brown? And I don't know if you feel like that, but you know, because I've been in one sector for so long, you know, and so now even stepping out as a pastor, like this is a whole new ball game for me. But you know, I'm embracing it because it's what God has for me, and I'm open to it.
Yeah, I think life is just so funny because we evolve, and as we're evolving, like we talked about this last week, if you guys were able to tune in, just putting ourselves in a place that's not the most comfortable, and what that looks like. But yeah, all of this is just so inspirational because I think that we're just talking about these changes, you know, that continue to happen, maybe success that we were able to get, but like, no, it's more for me, you know, it's greater. But yeah, I'll let you kind of take over now. I'm thinking, y'all, my wheels are turning. I hope that you are too. Life is just so beautiful, and I'm just grateful for the joy. Oh, I do have something though. How do we stay grateful? How do you stay grateful for the things that you have been able to accomplish? Like, how do we at this age, you know, just stay like grateful, like God, you've done some amazing things, you know, in my life. How do we stay grateful and remember what he's done as we continue on our journey?
I think one way to stay grateful is to continually remind yourself of where you've been. You know, sometimes we could just live everyday life and we forget how far he's already brought us from, and some of the things that he's already done. And so just really keeping that fresh and just thanking him along the way, and even being able to take time to go back and remember, you know, again, where he's brought us from. So that keeps me grateful to know that, man, while I may not be where I'm going, I'm not where I was, you know, and I'm continuing to move forward. I'm continuing to go in the right direction. So I think that's good for us to all, you know, just remember. Just take time to just reflect, think about, you know.
All right. Hashtag reflect, hashtag grateful. I'm just saying, it's just funny how when we open up the dialogue for each episode, I think there's certain things that just continue to pop out, and already just being grateful for what he's done just really it reminds me of last week's episode, because we were trying to figure out like how to have dialogue centered around not losing hope. And if we're trying to keep hope and be great and keep hope in life, being grateful is a key component to that. So,
and it's also a key component into other things that's coming to you, you know, because maybe there are some people that's feeling like, well, I don't have much to be grateful for. You know, for some people, it's hard to reach back and find those things that they can hold on to. But even if you're looking forward to something, you have to have a grateful heart, a grateful mind, so that the things that you're hoping for, if you want that to come, you also need to be grateful.
Absolutely. This was good. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Where we going now?
Woo. Okay, y'all. Let's talk about dating. 40 plus. What does dating look like at 40 plus? Let's see. Let's give some scenarios. So by now, maybe you have been married. Been divorced. Possibly 2, 3 times. Who knows what the number is at this age. By now, you understand what heartbreak is.
I would think so.
Disappointment.
Have been in a serious relationship.
Maybe you kind of know what you want at this stage in life. Because you may have settled earlier on in life before you understood completely who you were.
Now, what about the people who, piggybacking off of that, who haven't been married at all, though, who are waiting for that opportunity? I think it's a space for people like that who are like, I haven't even got to experience the marriage or the divorce. You know?
So what does that look like? that can be, I would imagine, a very scary place.
Yeah.
Because of course you're dating for something long term.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you establish something long term with somebody you don't completely trust?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or don't know? And then it's like, who can I trust?
Yeah.
How long do we date before I can trust you? How long do we date before I can let my guard down? How long do we date before, you show me who you really are?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, we're good at showing our
the
representative, right?
Yeah, at the beginning. I think so. And I was also thinking about, okay, this isn't our testimony, but for the people who aren't married yet or have never been married, what could that feel like in that space to just constantly be going through relationships for 40 years, 45 years, 50 years, and really desiring the one, their soulmate, purpose partner. We refer to each other as purpose partners, but what can that even feel like to continue the journey? Like, I keep dating and I just can't find the one.
It can be exhausting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And disappointing, especially after you've tried and you've tried. So a lot of people at this age and older, some of us are at the point of, you know what, I'm good. If I never have a husband or a wife again or for the first time, I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what? It's even some good in that, though.
Yeah. I think so.
Sometimes when we find ourselves in that place, that's when we start to value ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our own relationship with us, which is important. It's so important that needs to be intact before you move on to another relationship.
Yeah, and I think about this too. Like, at this age, I think all of us are at so many different places, and it's just kind of knowing what's best for us or what we desire. Are we desiring a companion long term? Are we desiring, like, no, I'm good on that. I want to be single. I want to focus on myself, or I want to focus on my career. I want to focus on my children. I think that we find ourselves in so many different scenarios in this age group, and just kind of knowing what works for us. I think that's the number one thing. Like, just we're clear on the vision, we're clear on what we want, and then we can, make our decisions from there, but not feeling pressure, from other people or society to, like, if you don't want to get married, don't get married. If you do want to get married, know, or, anything in between.
Yeah. And one of the things we talked on last week was vulnerability.
Yeah.
And how that can be tough. Just even dating and trying to date, you have to be vulnerable in order for that to happen. And some of us are, the older we get, the more set in our ways we become. And it's kind of hard to move us because we're not as pliable as we once were when we were younger.
That's a good word, pliable. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I guess let's sit, if you guys have something, but I was thinking about just really sitting on dating. But what did you have?
No, I was just kind of still talking on the same subject.
Okay. So I think dating for us 40 plus, for those of you who want to date, let's kind of sit there for a little bit. I think for me, as I got older, dating was, I think I was still optimistic about it. I was still positive about it. And I still knew kind of which areas I wanted to go in and which areas I didn't want to go in. Like, some people were dating online. I was like, no. Yeah. And we have a guest where we're going to talk a little bit about dating online and how that's going. So you guys stay tuned for upcoming episodes, because one of our guests, he's actually going to tell us his experience. But for me, dating online was kind of scary. So I didn't really venture into that at this age. I found I was a little bit more old school. So I like knowing people and meeting them, like in the church or in my neighborhood or through ministry or, something like that. And that's kind of how we met, through ministry and the arts and in the creative space.
Absolutely.
What about you? What do you kind of think about dating? Or did you even have any concept or idea about dating at this age?
I think for me, I'm old-fashioned in that sense too. Like, I'm first of all, I was a person that was afraid of rejection. So I would never go after the girl that I felt like I might not have a chance with. Like, she may reject me because I just did never want to experience that feeling. So I would wait until it was some type of vibe, and it was like, oh yeah, okay, I can shoot my shot now. I know I'm in the right territory. Okay. But it was either that, or I met girls through my friends, or just being in different environments. And so at this stage, how we met, it had to be somebody that I you know, could get to know that was tangible, somebody that I can actually talk to. I've never done the online dating thing or anything, but you know, I'm not knocking those who try it because I've heard some good stories. I've heard good and bad. So yeah,
we have some family members who have some great stuff. I mean, because like you said, you get both, and just I think we can dig into that a little bit more for our age group. What does online dating look like for our age group? Because we are looking for something more serious at this point online versus maybe the younger people online.
Now, answer this question for me, guys. This is something that I've heard. I've heard that in today's dating world, everything is fast tracked.
Okay.
Now, for some guys, that may not be a problem. Some women, it may be a problem, or vice versa. Everybody's not the same. But I've been hearing a lot about, man, by the first, second date, you know, they trying to take it there.
Oh,
you know, just really quick. And so it's before we even get a chance to know each other, before we get a chance to, you know, really just explore. It's like, man, we're losing out on opportunities because we're rushing it. Yeah, I'm gonna stay there for a minute. I believe that that's a possibility. Maybe some of you all are missing out on good partners because you're moving too fast and not allowing the relationship to grow at its own pace.
I think right now, with it being such a microwave society and everything moving so fast, I can see how, you know, we can get caught up in moving too fast, but is that necessarily what's the best thing to do? You know, just to speed things along and rush things along. And I think those old school principles really kind of lead us when it comes to just taking our time to really get to know another person. You know, I think for our personal testimony, like that worked. It was time, it was energy, it was effort, it was conversation, it was intimacy, which we're going to get to a little bit later. How do conversations and things like that help bring you build intimacy and what really is intimacy? But I don't know about the rushing things. Every time I rush something, and it turned out well. So I don't know. I think 40 plus now, just using wisdom and understanding, like, take my time. It's no rush. You know, really think things through.
Would you say that that's a good indicator of the male or female that maybe you should not go towards if they are trying to rush things? Like if you were dating right now and you felt like this guy was really, really coming on strong. Is that a turnoff for you, or is that, oh man, he's showing me that he really, really cares?
It depends. I would have to dig into that a little bit deeper. Because I think that sometimes somebody's showing a lot of interest. It seems like a lot of women are being turned off by that now, and the men are like, no, I'm showing genuine interest. Like, I'm trying to be a really good guy. So I would need a little bit more information before I classify that, because just because he's coming on strong, he may really have genuine feelings, but I just may need to slow him down to unpack that. But then, I wouldn't be able to say if that was good or bad. I just know I would slow it down though.
Gotcha.
Because it could be genuine.
So how do you all feel? Women, how do you feel? Is that a turnoff for you? Is it a turnoff when men are more, I don't want to use aggressive because that can be real strong, but when they come on strong, or if they really just kind of out the gate let you know what their intentions are, where they see this going? Or is that what you prefer? Are you looking for somebody that knows what they want and doesn't mind expressing that, you know, versus, you know, I'm sure there are some men out here that's just like, you know, what you got?
I think the turnoff for me is like the playing games and not being clear, like on what is your intentions with me. Like at this age, I really want to know. Like if I think back to when we were dating, I was clear on what your intentions were. Like I didn't have to.
Because I couldn't lose you. I had to let you know. I could tell you. Listen here.
Oh yeah. I didn't have to like second guess. You know, like is he playing with me? Like is he like I didn't? You know, I was very clear and aware as you were evolving. I think, and that made me respect you more because I felt like you were leading. You know, I never felt insecure in that area. And but that's a turn off to me, is not really knowing what your true intentions are. You playing games with me versus just being direct and clear. I
get it. I definitely understand it. I guess the only thing is, you know, of course, not all men are as confident in that area. Mm-hmm. And so you have some men who may even be listening who are good men.
Yeah.
But they're just a little shy and they may not know how to express what they truly feel. And it may take them some time.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not into you. It could mean that they're really just like, they may be guarded.
Yeah.
You know, let's look out for men too.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of men have been hurt. A lot of men are in a place where we're guarded and, you know, just trying to figure out what your intentions are. Mm-hmm. And so, go ahead.
I'm thinking about all of these like dating stories, and I'm thinking about like one of our family members and like seeing her like date now at her age, and just thinking about. I think it's beautiful at this age group to just kind of open up and figure like. I still see like older people smitten by each other.
You know what? That's something you say that because my grandparents were married before my grandmother passed in 2016. They were married at that point. They were married about, I want to say like 52 or 53 years, something like that. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, my granddad at that time was upper 80s.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, oh, he's never going to get married again. He don't have no interest in nobody else. And nobody want him. So I thought once they were, you know, grandma had passed, he would just live out his life happily. But the minute she passed, let me tell y'all, these women, these older women, I don't know if they had their eye on grandpa or what, but they were like, I thought I was watching something from high school. Cause I was like, and it shocked me. Cause I'm like, what y'all gonna do? Can y'all even, it was just a different place. But
they liked grandpa, huh?
Yeah, but it showed me. I was like, oh man, they looking like this is a good man. He's stable. Mm-hmm. He was with his wife 50-something years.
Ooh,
and
they was trying to snatch grandpa up. They was
Ooh, I can't tell our grandpa business. We'll have to get grandpa on with this.
Sorry,
grandpa. He had some decisions to make. And let me tell y'all, the decisions weren't easy. I mean, let me shut up. But
okay. So grandpa, God
even
bless
at that
you.
age, so it taught me something. I'm like, you know, but some people, then you have people who all they know is a companion. They've been with somebody their whole life. They've always had somebody on their side. So when that spouse passes on, it's like, you know, I feel like I need somebody by my side. I need somebody to talk to, somebody to keep me company.
Yeah.
And so I get it. It's just things that you experience and learn along the way.
Yeah.
Whereas you have some people that, you know, at this age, by the time they hit 60 or 50, 60 plus, they're like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna live the rest of my days alone. I like my privacy. I like not having to answer to nobody, not having to cook for nobody.
Yeah.
And so if that's you, again, it's the 40 plus podcast. We got all kind of ages watching and listening. So if that's you, let us know. Like, no, we had a guest that's going to be coming up on a few episodes later that talked about what was it? Single and satisfied.
Yes, absolutely. She sure did.
Yeah. And at an upper age. And so I admire that as well.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I remember what it was like to be in that single satisfied category. And I just wonder how many of you are there. Let us know what your journey is, how you're enjoying being single and satisfied. What are some of the things that you're doing to find contentment? And just to be happy and fulfilled, because I think that whether we're single or whether we're dating or have a companion, I mean, I think that we can find a sense of satisfaction in any season.
Yeah.
You know.
And I wanted to speak to not finding your identity in a relationship.
Oh, you playing now.
I think that's key too, because a lot of people may play on others' feelings because they may not have somebody, or you may feel pressured into, you know. Good. But again, even being married, it doesn't come without challenges.
Absolutely.
And so you have you have your good days, your bad days, your hard days, and you know, it's not always easy. And so whatever state you're in, you're going to have to find some contentment in it.
Absolutely.
And so
that starts with us. In ourselves, yeah.
So of course it has its benefits, you know, but so does being single.
Absolutely. I think it just depends on what season we're in.
Yeah, because I can't even enjoy my own bed no more. I'm just saying. I mean, this girl, she run hot number one, and then she gonna have a toe on you, a leg on you, a foot, something. And
cut.
I like a little space sometimes in the bedroom. I mean, you know, that's just me. But she wanna be booed up all night long.
Yes, I like it. I love.
And I can't sleep like that. I wake up hot, sweating. Sheesh. My sister kind of the same way. I don't know if it's in our blood. How are y'all? Are y'all the type that, you know, you could be under somebody all night long? Is that what you want? Is that a man thing? Is that a woman thing? Or what is it?
I love it. If Mario could just smash me all throughout the night. Oh man. And when he goes like this, like in the bed or like
I think I'm claustrophobic. Cause she put her leg on sometimes, be like, "You girl."
He said my leg heavy.
It's heavy. She little bitty. I call her little biggie. I was supposed to tell that.
You see, y'all, he telling
she is the perfect size, shape. Nothing about her is big at
all the secrets, y'all.
But she like Mighty Mouse. You would think she just, I mean, she's powerful in her speaking, powerful in just who she is. She's just a powerful little woman.
He be having me cracking up, y'all.
Man.
I didn't got this name, Lil Biggie. He said I put my leg on him, my leg.
It feel like she's 600 pounds. I promise you. I be like, I can't move. I cannot move, please. And then I try to give her a little, but her leg is so stiff. I can't hardly move. I'm like, why is she so strong?
Every single night, for those of our family members and friends who know us, I just be laughing every night before we go to bed because it's always some type of antics. I'm just trying to cuddle, but he won't let me cuddle. And so we just be laughing. He be moving my leg. I be trying to put my leg back. Then one night he got so mad. So since he gonna tell my business, I'm gonna tell his business. He got so mad because he was sick. So I was like trying to rub his back and rub his chest.
Tell the story. Tell it.
I was trying to like comfort him, and then he kept saying like, "You're touching me. You're waking me up."
Now listen. I'm already a light sleeper. It's difficult for me to even fall asleep. So when I finally fall asleep, on top of being sick, I'm like, I know she gonna let me sleep tonight. Next thing I know, I'm feeling something, and then she can't sleep, and now she got her AirPods out. She want to put the mess sermons in her ear, and she want to listen to podcasts, and all I hear is click, 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 click. I'm like, baby, are you trying to wake me up? I can be grumpy sometimes, y'all. I'm sorry. God is working on me.
He was so mad. I was like, I wasn't laughing. I was like, no. But yeah, so they call us our family and friends, and even our children, they call us Giggles when it's time for us to go to bed because I'm just cracking up because I'm such a cuddler. But he's not. But see, that's where compromise comes in.
Oh, I'm not compromised. Trust me,
at 40 plus, that's where compromise comes in because you're not going to be the same on every single thing. But absolutely. I love this man.
That's right. And she had to learn that. Me. I love her, even though I don't have to be all up on
all cuddle,
24 hours. I was about to tell something else. so it ain't just at nighttime, y'all. I just had a flashback. This all day. I mean, like but that's her love language.
There you go. Perfect segue into love languages. At 40 plus, do we know our love languages?
Do we know what they are? Have we heard of that? What is it?
Yes. So love languages, it was written. If I'm correct, I will come back in and clarify in the future weeks if I'm wrong, but I believe it's Dr. Gary Chapman.
That's right. It is.
Yeah. And he wrote this book. It's been out for a while, maybe a few decades. I know over 10 years, but 5 love languages is the most common ways that people like to show love or affection towards each other.
Yeah. And
so you have words of affirmation, you have physical touch, quality time, acts of services, and gifts. And those are the 5. I more am words of affirmation, physical touch, and quality.
Go ahead and tell it. Running.
Let me explain. I am more physical touch. I am more quality time. And I found out as I got, in this age group that words of affirmation are very important.
Yes.
To me.
Yes. Absolutely.
Gifts. I like them on certain occasions. I'm not as much gifts. And then acts of services. I do like that. Sometimes I wonder how come he doesn't get me a drink of cup of soda or water or something like he used to.
Like I used to.
When we started dating, I used to get water and stuff a lot. I used to make our plates and bring them to us, and then he would go get the juice and the water. I'm just telling all the business, y'all. He don't give me no juice, no water, no more. I just be sitting there parched and thirsty, like now.
There you go. You see what I did there? When she tried to say I don't look out for her. Listen, this is the thing, y'all. Don't do things that you may not want to keep up, okay?
You did.
Now listen. She's really good at taking care of me. Like she really attends to me, and I mean that without no jokes. Like she really takes good care of me. However, she spoiled me. She started to spoil me. So not only did she bring my plate, then she was bringing my drink. Then she would take my plate. Then she would come back. You want something else to drink? So I started, okay, well, I'm waiting on you to bring the drink because that became our custom. That became, how things were going. So it's not that I stopped or had to stop doing it. I stopped because I didn't know that you wanted me to do it anymore because you just took over.
Facts.
And I enjoyed it. So I guess, I'm learning.
Facts. So what's your love languages? My
love language. Quality time.
Yeah, you are very quality time.
I think that's big for me. Yeah. I like touch too, but not not always. Not I like to cuddle. I like affection and all of that.
When do you like to cuddle?
I like to cuddle for short periods of time.
What's the time limit?
A few seconds till I get hot.
That's not
I might come back.
Like it gotta be like for a good little while.
Okay, a good little while. See, I get hot. Fan not on.
Yeah, the fan.
But, I do like physical touch. Okay. I honestly do. I like that. Yeah. So.
Okay, so physical touch, quality time. That's it.
Those are the strongest ones.
Yeah. He's a real quality time. So I think that's good. 40 plus, knowing what our love languages are.
For sure.
Being able to express those and finding a mate that wants to meet us there. Somebody that we're compatible with. Oh, that was good. Dating. That was good. I enjoyed that conversation. Told all my business.
Hey.
Call me Miss.
That's what it's about.
Whatever the nickname was. I'm not even going to repeat it because I don't even want y'all to remember. See how quick he's...
Man, so this next topic, we got a couple more we want to tackle before we off tonight. Okay. So you want to lead us into this?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Standards that we have and boundaries. I think that's really good. Really good conversation. For me, Mario and I have talked so much on this topic, just standards and boundaries. Actually, we came out the gate talking about just standards that I had personally in my life. And sometimes I was able to explain them very well. At other times I was not. But I just knew as a woman, like honestly, that I had standards and I had boundaries and I had things that I was concerned about in my life. And my personal testimony, I was a people pleaser for so long that about time I met him later in my years, I was able to see how that did not benefit me. And I was on a journey and still on a journey of being more of my authentic self. And so I'm learning that even in my marriage, like there's still times, even recently, where Mario has had to like remind me, well, I didn't know this, like you didn't express this, or why didn't you say anything? And so I'm still learning and evolving. I'm not really a confronter.
Confrontational.
Yeah, I'm not really confrontational. I
totally am. So that's. We bump heads there sometimes, but we can talk about that too. I think that's good.
Yeah. So I'm really not. I kind of like keep internalize a lot. Would you say? I kind of process. I talk to the Lord a lot, and I just kind of keep things in until I'm really comfortable with coming out and talking about something. So it could be months, but about time I talk about it or express it, it can really feel like I'm learning from the feedback that I'm getting. It could feel like, or even appear like, or I could like build in a case you know, against people. And you got a thought?
So let's talk about the pros and cons of being a confronter and the pros and cons of being, what would you call yourself? Like not non-confronter, but a better word for that.
Yeah, I think
Just
like non-confrontational.
Or non-confrontational. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So from my perspective, and you can talk about me next. That's cool?
Yeah,
that's fair?
Cool. That's fair.
All right. So some of the pros of her not being confrontational, I believe, is that she won't act on emotion because she gives herself time to process everything that's going on. And, you know, I may not even know or be aware of something that has happened or something I've done or, you know, and so I think that can be a plus. And at the same time, on the other side of that same coin, it could be a negative.
Yeah.
It's because, you know, I found out almost when it's too late that, you know, I've messed up. And it's like, man, had I known I messed up, I would not have continued to mess up, or I would have had a chance to at least fix something that I knew about. But address it. Yeah. But you know, for her personality, it's like, no, I really want to sit with this. And because it may not even be necessary to speak on, you know, she's that type. It's like, let me just watch this, and if it continues to happen, or if I continue to see this, or and then like she mentioned, by the time it gets to me, now I felt like, man, like you done built up a case against me, and I'm guilty. And it's like, do I have a chance to overturn this thing, or you know? So I think that, I don't know. I think that this is common. Honestly, I think that's just our personalities. Whereas, you know, I'm a confronter. I don't like to hold on to things.
Yeah.
So she will hold on to something and then deliver it. I like to get it off my chest, get it off, you know, right away, deal with it, so I can move on. Because as long as things aren't right and you know, the air isn't clear, it's difficult for me to, you know, be my best.
Yeah. And I think for me too, it's interesting. I'm excited to see how many people, you know, at 40 plus, we know ourselves. So who's, you know, which way.
Yeah. Who do you identify with, her or me?
Yeah. Or in between.
Or both.
Yeah. Or in between. And I think for me, being like non-confrontational, as I got older and like just being in my 30s, I think that came from not really like trusting my emotions. Just speaking for a woman, just knowing like emotions come and they go. So not really just wanting to speak on every single emotion, because sometimes I'd be like, oh, I'm sad. And I'm just gonna make up a scenario. Oh, I'm sad. Mario he hasn't brought me roses in a year. That emotion may pass. So like, why even speak on it? And then before I know, a couple months later, you may get me some roses. So, and then I think I didn't want to be like a nitpicky woman, because there was a season in my life where I kind of reviewed my relationships and kind of felt like that's what I was. And I'm like, no man wants a woman, or no woman, nobody, you know, in the relationship wants to be nitpicked. So I think for me, I just kind of would try to stay reserved and just kind of process things. I think that's it. Yeah, just trying to process my emotions more before I communicate, to even know what they are. Like,
and even with communicating, that's so huge. Like, we didn't plan to go down this road. It's not in our notes, but communication is key. I think we talk sometimes more than I think we should. Sometimes we'll talk ourselves into a situation because we just talking. But overall, it's really good for us, because I think it's through communication that you find out, you know, real things. And then even just history that you may not even know anything about. How I was brought up, how she was brought up. We've learned some things just through conversation. Now, we learned them at the not so good times. We learned them through tough times, through arguments, through heated moments. And it was like, man, I didn't realize that, you know, this is how you view an argument. This is how you view an argument.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So, is it okay to go into the argument piece?
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I think the way we process. Yeah, no, keep going. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and so from where my walk of life, I've been able to have arguments that lead to good results. Yeah. And so although we may end up here, by the time it's all said and done, the relationships and friendships that I've held over the years, we end up in a good place. And so I'm not threatened by an argument. Whereas that hasn't been her story. She'll tell you her story a little bit. But, you know, so sometimes when we're arguing, it may feel as though this isn't going to turn out well. So I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah. And I think for me, confrontation and arguments, the times in my life that I loved the most was, living with my grandmother. It was so peaceful and it was calm. It really wasn't a lot of confrontation. Everybody was mostly happy, day in, day out, week by week, month by month. Like, I don't really remember much, but if I go back prior to that, a lot of the arguments or moments of confrontation, they ended up bad. And I think, for me, even I can go all the way back to childhood, just seeing a lot of domestic violence and a lot of chaos. And then the area that I grew up in St. Louis. So typically when people were arguing, like, you didn't know what was about, even in the neighborhood, you hear some arguing and some yelling. It could be some gunshots followed, shortly after that. So I didn't really look at arguing as a good thing. I thought that, and still, I'm still kind of processing that, of course, with my husband and with Mario, I'm able to know that I'm safe. But I still don't think even, being 40 plus, that I'm really okay or feel good about arguing or hearing people raise their voice, or certain temperaments still kind of really make me uneasy. I'm one of those people where, like, if there's disagreements, I like it to be handled like real calm, and then I feel more safe.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I'm having to learn, because we started out this segment talking about standards and boundaries. And so that was one of her standards. Like, don't yell at me. Don't raise your voice at me. And she was very clear about what she expected from me. Now, again, I haven't always done the best at it, because naturally my voice will elevate as I become more upset, but it's not in a way to harm or anybody. It's just naturally, like, when I'm passionate about something, my voice will raise, it will elevate. And so for her, it felt different.
Scary,
and so it was just like, a lot of times I felt like she thought I was a monster. I was mean because I'm like, no, like, I still love you. Just because I'm raising my voice does not mean that, I don't love you, or I don't care. Or it's just, I have to learn how to express myself in a calmer way, and so that's one of the things that I've been working on, continue to work on. But it's just interesting to see how, we come from different walks of life, and, our standards and boundaries are important, because if she never put that in place, I would think it's okay to just continue being me. But if I want to make her happy, if I want to please her, then that's something that I have to work on and get better at.
Yeah.
And it has to be some level of compromise. And
absolutely,
I believe you got to a point where you realize,
understand. I think that's the thing too, even though we have these standards and boundaries, when you love someone or you find the person that you're supposed to be with, you still do have to compromise and understand. And so I think that comes through conversation. And this is the first time in my life where I literally have reached this. I'm evolving as a woman because of my marriage, and I'm understanding that there are, this is good, some of those guards or some of those boundaries that I had, I don't need anymore.
Don't need them.
So while they may have kept me safe before meeting Mario, with Mario, I don't need them. But then I had to go through this process too of understanding that some of the, like, boundaries and standards and guards that I have, like, I still need them outside of my marriage. Like, when you're not around, like, I'm not going to go out in the world and function and just let, a man at the church just, like, yell at me or talk to me crazy. Like, I don't know if I'm safe if you're trying to argue with me. I don't know that. But with my husband, though, and I think that's the thing that God is still kind of maturing me in. I'm in a safe space, with you. And some of those things that I needed before, I don't need anymore. But that takes, time to understand that. That takes evolution and conversation and transparency and honesty to, understand these things as we grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That was good.
Yeah.
I like that.
So what you guys think about that topic? Where are you? Where do you find yourselves at? Is it safe? Is it unsafe?
Yeah.
Do you think arguing is healthy? Do you think intense fellowship is a better word?
Yeah.
Do we throw the whole word argument out? Is that something that we should not do? Are there any couples that don't argue at all? Are there couples that are happy and can honestly say, we don't argue at all?
Yeah, we talked about that too before.
Yeah, we did.
Like arguing versus not arguing. Now, one of the things, again, we're intellectuals, so we always like to have conversations and look at both sides of the coin and just try to get different opinions and thoughts. And that's why we're so excited to have you guys as family, so we can talk about this some more, see what you guys are going through. But this was something that we were talking about when it comes to couples that don't argue at all. You know, that saying that if you're not communicating, if you're not passionate, if you're not arguing, then you're in a bad place. Can those be some of those relationships that really aren't fruitful, meaningful, deep, because you're not really getting in there and kind of doing the work? It's more surface. So of course, if your relationship or marriage is more surface, then what is there really to argue about? Because I'm not opening up to you. Like, I'm not being deep with you. I'm not allowing you in. And let me just say this one thing. I found at this age, honestly, that the more I allow myself to let you in to those places that I was so guarded and I only wanted me and God to be in, the more that I grow as a person. But it's scary, because it's like, no, this was just me. This was just my little, area where I really didn't want anybody to get in. But the more, again, I think marriage is a mirror, and marriage is a place where you can really grow and evolve for those who want to be married or are married. And so, I think the more that I allow you in and some of those spaces are challenged, I grow.
Yeah. There's so much we can unpack and talk about there, even with the word mirror, because as a mirror, you have to be open to, what your spouse sees in you, because there's some things that only I can see, or some things that only you can see. So it's only when we are open, you know, and again, trusting that what you're telling me is not to harm me. Yeah, but absolutely. It's as my partner, we're on the same team. Yeah. But earlier on in the marriage and relationships, it's hard to accept, somebody telling you what they see about you, and you feel like you don't even know me like that. You don't know what I meant by what I said, and here you are trying to interpret my words and my thoughts and my feelings, and that's not always the safest place to be in, or to feel like you're in. So I think that's a place that you get to the longer you're together. Yeah, absolutely. Because you start to learn that I can trust this person. Yeah, we went from dating to marriage, but we in there. Yeah. It's all. Hopefully this is good to y'all, man. Yeah, we didn't plan to talk about marriage so much about marriage. Yeah, but I pray that it blesses someone, and I think we're getting somewhere. Yeah, I think it's some real good conversations. I think it applies. It applies even in dating too, though. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But definitely in marriage. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Well, all right. Yeah, we talked about dating, we talked about standards, we talked about boundaries. What you got next? Man, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all what they say in that song. Don't know the words to the rest. Let's talk about sex. And intimacy. Can I say that word? Absolutely. Let's talk about it. We're 40 plus. If we can't say it, if we who can? I don't know. Yeah. When do you get the card to talk about it? Yeah. Like, that's why I'm excited for us to talk about it. You couldn't talk about it when you was a kid. It probably wasn't appropriate when you was a teenager. When you were in your 20s, I don't know, was it appropriate then? So when is it? The church show ain't talking about it. Ain't telling us about it. Right? But it was so many conversations that we didn't even have. You and I have been Christians most of our life and grew up in the church, and it was just so many conversations that we did not have surrounding sex and intimacy. And so I'm excited to have this platform to actually be able to. We have to start talking about real life stuff. Absolutely. So let's see. Let's get into some good topics about this. What does intimacy look like? Yeah. To me, yes. I think intimacy is more than just sex itself. I think I'm understanding at 40 plus that I prefer the word intimate, like to say I'm intimate than to say I'm having sex or I'm making love. I prefer that. But I think intimacy is not the act of being intimate. Intimacy is, for me, even this is intimate. Absolutely. Even though we're sharing this publicly, this is something that I will remember in my marriage, being able to sit and do this podcast with my husband that I love and manifest a dream. This is very intimate to me. It's like, yeah. Yeah, I think the same way. Sometimes I'm turned on in moments you wouldn't realize it. You know, it's not at the. Of course, I'm turned on by your outer appearance or outer beauty, but sometimes when you're talking to me a certain way, or you're saying certain things to me, or you get me, you get my thoughts, my feelings. Even if I'm talking about a random situation, you're like, oh baby, I get that. You know, I wouldn't. All of a sudden, my insides is like, oh,
that's good.
She feels me.
She understands
me. So intimacy looks like, you know, having somebody that gets you.
Yeah,
you know?
That's good.
Just good and bad, flawed and all. I think that's what intimacy looks like, and just having a space to even be honest.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not always the man. What work do you know can be done without, you know, some type of pain or some type of, you know, hardship in it? Like no pain, no gain. So even in these tough conversations, that's even intimacy. To me.
I agree.
Because when we're done with it, it's like, man, like we just unpack something that we may never have to go back to.
Right.
And we both have been in relationships where we didn't know how to get to, you know, to that place, because it's like it was always a dead end. It was always a conversation that never led to results or fulfillment or understanding, you know?
Yeah.
And so, I think that's huge. Intimacy, it comes in many different forms.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think maybe what we're talking about now is the mental stimulation and emotional stimulation that comes with intimacy. Understanding your mate, these moments where you can be vulnerable, where you can be transparent, where you're building. I know for me, intimacy, it kind of takes me back to purpose. With you and I, every time we do purpose, I'm like, you know, that's a big turn on for me. It's just being able to be in purpose, be driven, and that's I think why we call each other purpose partners. You know, that's why that came so naturally to us, because for me, I was looking for that. I was looking for someone that I could literally be in God's will with and continue to do what he called me to do until that moment I took my last breath. Like, that's just so sexy to me. You know.
And if we talk about the physical aspect of intimacy, I think that, you know, what I've learned is there's temporary satisfaction and then there's fulfillment.
Okay.
So I think that, you know, you can get temporarily satisfied in many different places, many different ways, but true fulfillment comes from intimacy, you know, from knowing the person that you're with, from understanding, from doing life and learning and just experiencing different things together. And so, you know, I think that's one thing that helps the physical be as strong as it is, you know, because how can you keep something going and so strong for a lifetime with one person? You can't lose the intimacy. Because it'll become mundane.
That
so
makes sense.
I think it just makes it even greater. It's just like, oh wow, I'm connecting with you on a higher power in a spiritual realm. It's like, man, this is different. This is different.
I think the thing too that might keep things spicy, if you think about it, the fact that we're always evolving. So the person that you meet, let's say you meet your mate in your 20s, that's not going to be the same person you married to in your 30s. That's not going to be the same person you married to in your 40s. So as you continue to grow, like, you're able to fall in love with a new person all over again, as you're being intimate with each other, as you're leaning in, as you're tuning in, you know, as you checking for them. Like, it's this beautiful opportunity to keep falling in love over and over and over and over. And so then if we look at it from a really healthy perspective, I think how God really wanted marriage to be, it is such a beautiful space if we look at it that way. You know, I think if we think about what society says about relationships and marriage and all that, and if we look at it in such a negative light, then we're going to act on that negative energy. But if we can really tap into what it really was created, companionship is like the bomb.com, and having somebody that really knows you. But I think we have to be willing to like really dig in, especially at this age, if that's really what we want. But I think that this is a thing for this age group. If we haven't had it before, or we've had failed relationships, that doesn't mean that it's still not possible for us.
That's
you
true.
know?
That's true. So how do you keep a sexual relationship from being mechanical?
Yes. This is good. You want to go first?
No, I'm gonna let you. I ask you the question. Or you want me to? Go ahead.
Yeah, you go first.
So how do we keep it from being mechanical? I think all of the things that we just mentioned.
Yeah.
You know, it's when you really love the person you're with, when you really like the person you're with.
Yeah.
When you know that the person really likes you and they really love you, it makes it, you don't have to think about when and how, and you know, before you know it, things are happening because of the true, genuine chemistry that you all possess.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the ways to keep it from being mechanical.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean that at times it won't need to be mechanical, maybe because you just might not be filled up, the person may not be on your page.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's okay as well. But you know, a lot of men sometimes feel like, man, I wish we can know that you want me to, and that you feel this way about me as well. And,
yeah.
you know, sometimes we may or may not express it, but you know, the men that I've talked to, they have that same desire to not only you know, pleasure you, but want to be pleasured by the woman.
I think that the reason why I was so excited about us talking about this topic is because I feel like there's a lot of pitfalls that happen in this age group with people not being satisfied. And that's really what I wanted to dig into, because I feel like we're not really being honest, because we're not really talking and communicating. So I think there's pitfalls because we're not actually telling ourselves the truth. Like, we're getting in these relationships where we weren't physically attracted from the beginning, or we weren't mentally or emotionally or spiritually attracted. Like, something was missing out of these relationships, and then we find ourselves in them. And let's just look at the dynamic of marriage and cheating, right? If you look at this age group where you see, like, okay, so I'm gonna take this slow, but in this age group, like, it's kind of baffling me that so many people are saying that married people, like, cheating is like the normal thing. Like, no, like, you know, the 40, 50, like 60-year-old man that's married, or woman, like they're just
common.
Yeah. And I think if we look at really what's going on, there's actually some things that we can pinpoint. Like, we're in these dead-end marriages or dead-end relationships that maybe we were never really supposed to be in. Maybe there were signs. I've heard so many people say they felt pressure to get married from the church. You know, I felt, and again, it's just so many different things, but we're not being honest. I know in one season of my life, I really wasn't honest. It took me to really start saying, as a Christian woman, like, I want somebody I'm really attracted to. So because, like, finding you, I'm completely satisfied because I'm so physically attracted. But I don't know why at first I felt like I was a bad person if I wanted somebody that was extremely attractive. Like, I was lying to myself. Like, what was I doing that for? What, I know I see your wheels are turning, but what were you thinking, kind of?
No, I'm just thinking along. First of all, you're making me blush by telling me how attractive I am. So I was trying to keep a straight face. So that was my thought. I was like, I started trembling a little bit. Yeah, that kind of made me feel good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but yeah, I think you have to be like the person that you're with.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, it's so many. This is what breaks my heart. I believe that there's more people than we know that are in relationships that they're not supposed to be in. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, man, but I'm here. I gotta do what's best. I gotta please everybody else. This is the right thing to do, and I get that. I understand that, you know, but. Man, this is
deep.
This is hard for me, because you know, I feel like you can waste so many years of your life being unhappy and unfulfilled, and as a result of that, the version of you that may come forth may look nothing like who you really are. Mm-hmm. And so it's only when you know, that's why they say when you find a good mate, when you find your spouse, it brings you up to a whole nother level. It's like, it's the person that you are and that you're meant to be. Things start to align.
I think Mario has said something, guys, it was so good. I'm going to see if I can remember it. I think it was like a year ago or something. He said only a bad marriage produces bad fruit. It was something like,
I think I said nobody leaves a good marriage. Is that what you're talking about? Or no?
That might be it. And maybe I'm kind of putting it in my...
We can paraphrase. Let's go with your
my
version.
words. Because I'm thinking about, like, the fruit that we start to produce when we're in the right environments. Like, think about it. Certain fruit, it can't grow in certain environments because it's the wrong environment. It's a good seed, but it's not going to grow in a garden that doesn't have the proper nutrients and soil, or even the proper weather for that. It's not. But then you take it out and you put it where it's supposed to be, and you can have the most beautiful tree, garden, fruit, and I just think about when we're in the wrong spaces, we're not going to produce. And so these relationships, romantic relationships that we allow ourselves to get in, and they don't produce good fruit. And so I think we really have to even look at and dig into the marriages, because the divorce rate continues to be high, and I know what it's like to be in a failed marriage, and just to look back and like, why did I do that? Like, what was I thinking? Like, why did I? Because I could see the signs that it wasn't going to produce fruit. Yeah. Like it just wasn't, because it wasn't this. But then understanding and just wanting to give people hope that you can get in the right romantic garden. Yeah. Like you can find what you're looking for, or plant yourself in a place that's really good for your life.
Yeah. Whew, that's heavy, y'all. That's a lot to think about, a lot to consider. And even those of us who are in marriages that are struggling. That doesn't mean to abandon the marriage or leave the marriage or run from it, but really, really, really look at it, really pray, and really look at the things that led you into that place, and the fruit that you're bearing from that marriage and that relationship, and what's there, what's left, what can be turned around. Is there something that can be salvaged? Is there something that can, again, consider all of those things. That would be my advice.
Yeah, of course.
Not to just run, but weather the storm and try to figure it out. And if there's something there, is, I encourage anybody to stay in their marriage if it's a marriage that's worth staying in.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about intimacy, and just what that means when you're in a marriage, and how to keep your intimacy solid, within your union, within your marriage. And we know that real life happens. And so when that's not solid, I think that we do see the bad fruit of when that's not solid. We do see the affairs, we do see cheating, you do see, so many different dynamics. And I think that's kind of where we were at, and really what we wanted to kind of expose and talk about this episode is the fact that when we really don't look at it from the beginning and kind of really tell the truth about intimacy and what we're looking for, then you can find yourself being deceived and kind of going different places. Yeah. So where do we want to go from there? Because there's so much too that we can go to.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think we're just about wrapping up, but I just thought about even being able to be honest with your partner, because, as far as what you want, what you desire.
Yeah.
There's not enough honesty even within a marriage sometimes. Yeah. It's like, man, I can't tell my wife that I want it this way. I can't tell my husband that, it's just certain things that you may not feel comfortable, where I found complete freedom, with us. And so that has helped a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't have to hide any desires or, so that's a good place to be in.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of men who have even struggled to express it. And then some that have expressed it, if that spouse hasn't done anything with what they brought to them, then it's kind of like, man, disappointing. You know what I'm saying? I told her, they say teach the person how to
how to love you. Yeah, how to connect, how to satisfy you. Really, what are your desires? I think we had a really good conversation just about that intimacy can be speaking about your sexual desires.
Yeah.
Even that, just even that conversation.
Yeah.
I think at this age, like we're 40 plus, what are we afraid of when it comes to talking about sex? When a lot of us have children, we know what sex is. We know that we know all of the things. We're adults. So why is sex such a scary conversation, just in the world or in the church? And so I found freedom by just being able to communicate with you about the conversation about sex, and how my philosophy was changing, and not being satisfied at points in my life, and kind of what I was looking for. But it was a freedom in being able to talk and communicate about it, and it was a freedom in being able to be honest.
Yeah.
Because on what my thoughts were, what my boundaries were, what my standard was, what I really was like, because again, like now surrounding sex and intimacy, like you have women, I'm just gonna put it out there, like you have people in relationships that they're down for any and everything.
Right.
And I was like, oh, wait a minute, like I'm not down for any and everything. I'm a Christian, like I have class, or I have limits, but then there's some stuff that I love, and we on the same page. But just being able to be honest about that and everything in between, I think that's where that brought us so much more closer together. And I think made us respect each other, because we knew that we were being honest.
Yeah.
There was so much chemistry there. And then that just even helped the chemistry.
Yeah.
And
I think that's important. So you're not, I guess, even forcing something on your partner or your spouse, because at this point, 40 plus, again, like most cases, we're not coming together as virgins.
Yeah.
So we're coming to the table with different experiences, and it's important to know what your spouse is comfortable with.
Yeah, that's
both
good.
Ways. Because a lot of women, like you said, have not been pleased, and then they're like, man, like they're getting the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
So now, can they be honest and say, hey, listen, I done been through a lot. I at least want to be satisfied in this area. Can they express that, and can we meet that desire and have an honest discussion about it? Because there's some things that unlock our performance.
And I think sex is such a beautiful thing, and God created it in the bounds of marriage and with our partner, and so it's such a beautiful place to continue to be vulnerable, continue to connect, and I think that in marriage, like it's nothing. What could keep us from talking about it and bonding about it? I think that's the beautiful thing, is that intimacy starts way before that physical connection. Like that intimacy starts with the conversation and opening up and telling what we've been through in our history. And even in that, like think about, now, like you said, a lot of us aren't virgins. So by the time we get together, sexual history, talking about that, that can bring intimacy and bring people closer together, in marriage, before marriage, in the engagement stage. Like, I just love being able to just not be afraid when it comes to talking about what your partner needs and really exploring that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we touched on a lot. I think we tackled a lot tonight. Again, this podcast is for a space for us mature, grown folk to have conversations. So again, if you're listening and you have some wisdom or some advice that you want to share on this topic, I'm sure people will come back and look at this and leave your comments. Whatever you're felt led to share. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss. Let's open it up, because we can always bring these topics back. If you want to be a guest on our show, if there's some people that are listening, it's like, hey, y'all was talking about this, and I got something to say. Well, let's talk. Hit us up. Our email is the 40pluspodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
And it's spelled out 40 FORTY. And you'll find that in our description box.
We'll make sure we put the contact information.
And so just thank you all for tuning in and helping us to just have this healthy dialogue. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, so you'll get notifications every Wednesday when we release our podcast and our episodes, as well as our Instagram page and our Facebook pages.
Yes, absolutely.
So many ways to stay in touch, and we want to stay in touch with you.
That was good. Absolutely. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode just as much as we did. Again, we're just touching the surface, scratching the surface of so many of these conversations that we have. So this is just a look into our life, in a sense, and so many of these conversations that we have with our family members, our friends, and making sure that we have a hangout spot where all of us can talk about real issues for the 40 plus age group. Let's go. I'm excited.
Let's go. Till next time, we love y'all. Peace.